Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hello, family. How you doing today? Well, here I am again today. This is today's Tuesday, and at the end of the day, I come before you and just wanted to maybe see what it is that I've learned today, some nuggets that I can share with you, especially with young people. Most of the time I'm talking to doing these vlogs, I'm not talking to necessarily people my age. I'm mostly talking to younger people that, because I do mentoring, and I mentor from ages probably the youngest 12 and up or whatever, but a lot of high school, maybe college students, maybe in the age to where they're considering marriage, considering making these supposedly lifelong decisions, that can affect the rest of their lives. And I'm just glad to be open enough with my life to share with them some nuggets that might help them from falling into some places, or help them to avoid maybe some situations that I've learned from, and that way, maybe I can make a difference in their lives. Okay, a positive difference, hopefully. But I guess if I had to talk about some things today, I did return back to the school system, the substitute teaching, and I kind of made some adjustments there so that I wouldn't have to go in until Mr. Eza was ready, because I'm not ready to come up out of retirement. I'm really enjoying my time, enjoying being able to get out in my garden and do things, play my clarinet, do a little art, as you can see, do a little artwork. I've really been able to just spend some time with Anthony. So this is really a good time for me. I think if I wanted to share some nuggets, it would be about something that was in my spirit a couple of days ago that made me feel like, okay, I need to address this. But I'm going to address it in this way, because if you've been watching my videos, usually there's a lesson there that hopefully you can take in on a practical level of family, at the stages of how do you relate to one another, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, or whether it's husband and wife and what have you. These are sort of the tips that I'm trying to give to try to salvage marriages, to salvage relationships, to help us to, before we go into marriage with someone, a lifetime commitment, there are some things that you may not have considered. And so sometimes I come across videos that other people have done, and that maybe I feel like, well, maybe with this little tweak it might help youngsters make some better decisions, or maybe they just need to consider some of these things that I'm talking about. But this situation happened the other day where I had to come away from that. From a situation, I had to look back at it. First of all, I have to stop and take inventory on the things that in my life. I have to take inventory on the things that I've accomplished, and I think that's a good thing for all of us to do. Look back at the things, the dips and the heights, or the hills, or whatever, of your life. Those are things. Those are experiences that you go through, and that you have earned wisdom. You have learned from these things. And so now we get at this point in our lives, we don't want to fall back into those holes. And so these are the kind of things that I think that, I was forced to look at a couple of days ago, because, the younger generation now that's coming through, I might be looking at some of these, like 12 and 13, but, you know, we have people who are like in their 30s with some screwed up mindsets. They're just absolutely just as hard as it was. I had to deal with a student in school. I think she might have been about 7th grade. Had to write them up and whatever, and they were aloof. They were just off the chain. They were off the chain in disrespect. They had no idea how disrespectful they were. And sometimes I can say, well, I understand this with a child. But when you get to where you're in your 30s and you're still acting like a child, you can't talk with them. In high school, I was really glad to work with high school students, most high school students, because they're at a questioning age. And they will, if you pull them to the side and kind of talk to them maturely, they will usually listen. But I found myself dealing with someone like 30, with kids. Couldn't even talk with them. I usually have, as you know, that I've done a video where I say, when you're having an encounter with someone, or difficulty or disagreement or whatever, you go to this, you try to use something that I thought that was just 100%. And it is 100% if you're dealing with a level-headed person. But if you're dealing with someone that is way, that's like maybe something else is involved in that, in the response or whatever, or in that person, maybe like if there's another type of some other condition that you cannot see that is going on there, or maybe if some substance abuse or something is involved in there, there's really no reason for a normal person to not be able to accept this is fair thinking. Because we have to learn how to converse with each other, to have a conversation. But when you're dealing with someone that refuses to have a conversation, they're not even able to realize when you offer them a fair deal. And what I call a fair deal is, I let you talk for as long as you want to talk. And when you finish talking, then you can let me talk. Oh no. I'm dealing with a grown person that could not do that. Even after you bring it to their point, they can't do that. That's when you know you're dealing with something else. You're dealing with something else. And so it comes down to where you have to learn to love yourself. And that's what I had to do. I just shut my mouth and let them talk. And they talking about me talking over them. It's like he hadn't even realized I'm not talking. This is ridiculous. But this is the condition of our people. And I did another video where the young woman was saying that some black men, well, some of us as black men, we've got some problems. And that she said something about them having a volatile or violent side of them that is stemming from DNA or from their Y chromosome. After when I saw this guy, when he did this, I had to go back and think, maybe I need to reevaluate what this woman is saying. I know that there are a lot of men like me who are not like that, but once I saw this person do this, it was almost like God said, you better look at this. It's almost like something is truly off unless somebody's up there pulling some strings. And when I say up there, the Bible talks about wickedness in high places. That's what I mean by that. Because someone might be doing something to the atmosphere, might be doing something to the food that we eat, might be doing something that's causing people to not operate and not act intelligently, not only intelligently, but insane. And black people for sure, we've been through so many stresses until I have to stop and realize that, especially black men, women too, I guess, we can go through so much until we as a people need counseling, to witness some of the things that we have had to go through. But for me, if I bring you into my close-knit circle, I'm hoping that those type of issues don't exist. Because then I have to kind of move these type of people to the outside of your circle. Because it gets to a point to where some things become not safe. And I don't want to get to the age 35 with all this wisdom. I advise my kids. I advise my children when they're in certain environments and you see A, B, C, and D, you make up an excuse to get out of that situation. Oh, I think I hear my mom call it. You get out of that situation because anything can happen in those environments, and you need to have wisdom enough to remove yourself from those situations. And that's what I did. I was kind of proud of myself the other day because usually because I have been through stresses, I sit there and argue with the person, but I am so glad that God gave me, the great I am gave me the wisdom to say, I love myself, and I'm not going to allow someone else to just be abusively disrespectful. And this person actually went there, just disrespectful. But at the same time, that's this other side of him that's really good, But that's the reason why I say something else can sometimes be going on. And we need to really, the older we are, the older generation, we're going to have to stop and think about, if we're going to reach that. Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson had I don't know whether it was a video or a picture. I think it was a picture that I saw. And on that picture, the statement was something like this. It is easier to raise or to make a difference in the lives of these little ones than to waste all your time trying to correct someone who is up in age, older. And this was a perfect example of that. This person was up in age with kids acting like this. And I could not even get him to a stable place to even have a conversation with him. Just unruly. And I realized, Dr. Umar, I think you're right on this one. I mean, I mostly agree with most of the things he says. But he's right on this one. And so I have to stop and think about, how do I move in the future? And I think that was a lesson for me to learn, a nugget for me. And that's a nugget for you also out there you want to make a difference. But you have to stop and think and know when it's time to give it up. On that particular, you got to know when you're barking up the wrong tree. So sometimes you just have to accept reality that you cannot help everybody, but you can. There are a lot of youngsters out there just waiting on someone to give them some attention and help them make good decisions and help them to be hopeful that they can have a better life. And those are the ones that I look for. And that is the nugget that I've gained within the last couple of days. So with that said, I say to you all who are understand that you're supposed to be out. We have to. We don't really have a choice but to try to reach back and help some of these little ones that are coming through who need some attention. They need some guidance, and they want some guidance. They just need people who are gifted enough to be able to put them on the right track. And I'm telling you, some people, I always say the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. Just look, open your eyes and see. Oh, that's interesting. I always say that, strive for excellence in everything, instead of trying to strive for mediocre in everything. So, doesn't mean you have to be perfect in order to help youngsters, but you have to be in the mindset of trying to raise the next generation. And we have to try to think a little bit more youthful in order to be able to, or to gain their interest in wanting to be a better person. So, with that said, that's the best I got today. That's all I got. Okay, so with that said, at the end of the day, these are the nuggets that I have for you. Peace.